happy to answer any questions. There are several public comments.
Great, thank you, Neil, on that. If you have any of the further public comment cards, make sure you get them into staff before we open up for public comment. Moving forward, the board will dissect this document page by page. Last meeting, so I'm not suggesting procedurally that's how we address tonight's agenda item. So if there are particular areas that the board has concern or individually, let's certainly bring those and talk about them tonight. Before we do that, let's go ahead and open up public comments on this particular item.
Sharon Day.
I just wanted to share with the board and everybody in the audience the letter that I sent to the board earlier this afternoon. And I did hear back from Ted regarding some of the verbiage that led me to write this letter. And that's because Neil kind of touched on that he did make some changes to the charter that was put on the website. So what I wrote was, good afternoon, board members. First, let me thank you for the countless hours you have spent and will continue to spend to ensure you do the right thing for all stakeholders. Your job's not an easy one, but one that has tremendous impact on many. Please don't take it lightly. I was at the open house that was held last Wednesday night and genuinely appreciated the time you gave the community to come together and have what I believe was a healthy discussion. I was pleased and felt we were headed in the right direction until I saw draft 4 of the charter on the website. My understanding of what was to happen after the meeting was that Nancy's focus notes would be sent to the board to review. Seeing draft 4 tells me that you did not hear our concerns, as the changes we asked you not to make were still in the latest draft. To say I am disappointed is an understatement. Mr. Lindsay spoke at the beginning of the open house and stated that the only changes that were being made were grammatical and data-driven, which several community members pointed out throughout the meeting was not the case. After pointing these out, Mr. Lindsay stated that he would be okay with the original charter being submitted after the grammatical and data information was corrected. I am asking you to take your executive directors and your stakeholders' recommendation to submit the charter with the necessary changes and not the one that changes the governance structure, eliminates the committees as we know them, eliminates the security of a certified teacher representative on the board, and does away with class size reduction. Are you willing to do all of that because you were giving a recommendation from one person, Dr. Carpenter, who, as one community member pointed out, is not a stakeholder? Please take the necessary time to do what is right. We have all agreed on one point. CVCHS has been successful. That has happened with the original charter, the one that was created with the input of teachers, parents, community members, and students, not Dr. Carpenter. Again, I ask you, I thank you for your time, and I ask you to do the right thing. I wanted to point out that in the original charter, when it comes to class size reduction, it does say lower class sizes in order to increase student-to-teacher contact and increase student access to instructional material and teacher guidance. It is significantly different when you put in ensure that the teacher-student ratio is such that effective instruction and learning results are maintained. I was in a student services meeting today where an administrator from this staff said to me, it makes a difference to have a smaller class size. We have the same course material given in class, and when the class is reduced, the student ratio is smaller, they learn more. So I am asking you to please take these into consideration. Thank you.
Regent Miller.
Thank you for your time. And I was that person that pointed out that Dr. Carpenter was not a stakeholder. And as you know, I then, after the open forum last week, I sent an email to the board urging you to consider passing the charter petition that leaves, at the very least, that first part that you talked about, the governance committee structure, as it was under the original charter. I know there's debates about a lot of other things, but I'm going to focus my comments on that. And I want to assure you, whatever you do decide about that language, I want Clayton Valley to remain a charter. And I fully support the accomplishments that have been achieved so far. My mother was a teacher here for over 30 years. My brother taught here. My brother and I are alumni. I've supported the charter from the beginning, and I'm fully invested in seeing it succeed. And I'm sure anyone who's been at these meetings or on social media may feel that there have been unfair and inaccurate attacks, suggesting that you as a board or as administration have ulterior motives for pushing that governing section. I don't know, I can't read your mind, and I want to take your assurances that there are no ulterior motives, that it was just because Dr. Carpenter said to do it. But the insistence on changing it gives me pause. Since both Mr. Lindsay and Mr. McChesney assured us at last week's meeting that there's no reason that the governance structure needs to be changed, and the committees will continue to work as they did under the old language, why change the language if you don't need to? Language has clearly worked based on the accomplishments that this school has had. That, to me, does not seem enough to, saying that Dr. Carpenter told us to does not seem to be enough to dispel the suspicion that there might be something else going on. I understand that you and maybe others in the audience feel that the board shouldn't have to bend to the will of a minority group of dissenters, but assuming that even they are a minority, the failure to leave the language as it was originally written just gives that group more ammunition to question your motives. On behalf of the parents and the community members who do not have an axe to grind and are seeking a peaceful resolution to this drama, leaving the old language would go a long way to dispel any questions about your transparency or your motivations. So I say that the ball's in your court. You could extend that, at least that part of the olive branch to the Lake Valley stakeholders, or you can plant your feet behind a non-stakeholder. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for letting me speak to you this evening. I too would like to put in a pitch for leaving the governance structure the way we wrote it a short 2 years ago. We fashioned it after Granada Hills, which is a hugely successful school in Southern California. Their scores have gone up over 100 points. They have an executive director there that's been there for 7 years, is hugely successful, and our governance structure was modeled after that. So we've met 5 times, and we've talked about this, and the message is the same every time. So I'd like to respectfully request that you leave the governance structure the same as it was in the original charter. I would also like to say that 100%, almost 100% of the teachers on this campus are union. So the wording for the board position, represented teachers, needs to include that that representative will be a part of the union. I respectfully request that you put that wording back to its original form as well. And we're going to talk about Dr. Carpenter. Dr. Carpenter is not a stakeholder, but seems to be held in high esteem by this board. And that may very well be true. I wasn't at that training, but certainly he